I'm Ray from the pump team.
And I'm Ben from the pump team. So this is a brand new, newly bored borehole, and we're about to put one of our pumps onto it. What's under the ground? That's the question I think I'm going to answer. First of all, we've got about a foot of just normal topsoil. And that's everything that we grow on the allotment, pretty much has its roots in there. Now below that, going down from about a foot deep, another metre or so, is quite a thick layer of what we call subsoil, which isn't very fertile. It's a mixture of sand and clay, and it's pretty easy to dig through. And then you get into a very thick layer of this stuff, and this is sand and gravel. The stones are sort of flinty bits, tiny bits, all the way up to some stones about as big as a jacket potato. And there's a layer of that sand and gravel going from about 2 metres down all the way down until something magical happens. Because if you dig down to that depth, you'll suddenly find you've got water down there. Because about 4 metres under the ground is an aquifer. Now the aquifer is a thick layer of water. The sand and gravel is saturated in this water. Why is it there? Well, it's rainwater. And when it rains on the site, that rainwater percolates through the topsoil, through the subsoil, down through this thick layer of sand and gravel, until eventually, at about 8 metres deep, it hits this stuff. Now this is London clay. We dug it up from one of the other boreholes yesterday, and it's underneath our entire site. And luckily for us that it is, because it's this London clay that stops that rainwater that's percolated through the soil from going anywhere. So very luckily for us, we have a layer of water about 2 or 3 metres deep in places, which we can suck up. So what we do is we grab a plastic pipe, we bore a hole about 7, 8 metres deep into the ground, and we drop this plastic pipe into the hole. The plastic pipe has lots of tiny slits in it, which means when we put a pump on the steel pipe, which is joined to this under the ground, we're able to suck that water up this pipe, until eventually it comes out of the pump. So let's put one on.
The pump. Right, first of all, we're going to put this little flap valve, leather flap valve on. This is a wonderful little big piece of kit. All of the pump rests on this. Do you want to just show them how that valve works?
Yeah, so it's called a non-return valve. When water gets sucked up the pipe, we want it to go into the pump. So this little flap opens and allows water to fill this cylinder when we do our downstroke. When we stop our downstroke, we don't want all of that water to fall straight back down the pipe again, otherwise it wouldn't come out the spout. So this flap closes and it holds all the water above it in the cylinder of the pipe, so that when we pump again, it comes out of the spout.
They really are wonderful pieces of simple technology, and in many parts of the world it's the only source of bringing up fresh water. They're simple to maintain. There's 2 replaceable leather parts that we have to do perhaps once a year on average in each pump, and you'll see in a minute when Ben gets the body of the pump secured, we'll put the piston down, and you just see how simple a piece of kit it is, but incredibly effective. You all right, Ben?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so next, the piston goes down inside the bore of the pump, and that's the second replaceable leather part, at what we call a cup washer or a bucket washer on the piston. Another non-return valve here. Ben was explaining about the first leather non-return. This is a steel one. You have to have this because when you push the piston down, if that was solid, you wouldn't be able to get the piston down through the water. So that lifts up, allows the water to flow into this part of the pump.
Right, so that's on, I think.
So This is a new pump, so it's a little stiff.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
We've got to put the piston down a bit further, Ben.
Have you? There we go.
Right. Let's see if we can make it work.
Yeah.
They normally need priming, which means just putting, filling the bore of the pump up with water. We're sucking air here, Ben. Quite seriously.
Okay.
So we need to tighten that down a bit.
Yeah. That's just not. There's something going wrong here.
We've fixed the small problem we had. So now we're going to prime the pump, see if we can get it working. Right, Ben?
Yeah.
Normally you need to put a small amount of water in. Now we've got the suction and we're starting to pump. Now it's coming up quite sandy because it's a new bore, but over time it will run cleaner. If necessary, we'll clean the bottom of the bore out, but we may not have to do that. It may just clear itself.
And what's happening is that sand, very fine sand and silt, is able to pass through these tiny slits in the pipe under the ground. And that's the mucky stuff that we're seeing coming up now. Eventually all of that silt and tiny bits of sand will all be sucked up and drawn away from the area around these slits, leaving coarser bits of sand and pebbles surrounding this pipe. And at that point the water will run clear and be a normal working pump for the allotment, providing free fresh water for irrigation, hopefully for decades and decades
See
to come.
us out.
Definitely you.
Yeah, definitely me. Now I think we need to